My name is Harry E. Crisp II. We'll have to go back to when my family first arrived in Fredericksburg, because that's where I grew up. And that was in the fall of 1949. And at that time, there were 4 children in our family. I was the oldest. Later became 10 children. But I grew up in Fredericksburg, graduated from James Monroe High School in the class of 1960. And during those years, was really just kind of minimally aware of Stafford County for the most part. At that time, Fredericksburg was billing itself as George Washington's boyhood home, which we know is not exactly true since he grew up at Ferry Farm across the river. I did have some friends from Stafford County who were attending Stafford High School, and I got to know my wife, Bobby, through our church youth organization. She grew up in Stafford, graduated from Stafford High School, and so we got to know each other, became good friends. And one of my early memories of riding down Kings Highway, at the time old Route 3, before it became 4-laned, was passing through the property that is known as Sherwood Forest Farm, and particularly when they were growing corn, the corn on both sides of the road, and it was a 2-lane highway, and with the windows open, and you could smell that corn, and you could see the moon rising up over the horizon to the east, and it was really just a wonderful feeling of being out in the rural area, away from town, and driving down the road, enjoying the breeze and enjoying the smells. So the reason I was driving down Route 3, where Old Kings Highway was, that I was going to meet Bobby, and her family lived on a farm 6 miles east of Ferry Farm. And so I got to spend a lot of time there, of course, and meet her family and enjoy being in that farm environment. Eventually, we did get married, and we raised a family on that farm, 4 children. They all went to school in Stafford, graduated from Stafford High School, and they now are married and have 2 children each, so we have 8 grandchildren. The interesting thing about that farm, historically speaking, is that during the Civil War, Union cavalry was posted there, and they were watching Stonewall Jackson's army across the Rappahannock on the other side of the river. The farm sits up on a rise, and you get a good view of the surrounding countryside, and you can easily see Caroline County across the river. So the Union Army was camped there for a year or more, and over the years, while we've lived there, the relic hunters have really combed that property thoroughly with their metal detectors and have discovered a lot of artifacts, ranging from the typical Civil War bullet to coat buttons and insignia and belt buckles and stuff like that. So that's one piece of history concerning the farm. But there's also there's 50 acres or so of trees there out of 85, and in the woods there's an old tree, very large old tree, and in the bark you can make out Lawrence Washington carved into the bark. And who knows whether that, Lawrence Washington was really the person that carved that into the bark or not, but it's very old and kind of faded out. You can just barely make it out now. But it is an interesting thought because Mary Ball Washington, George's mother, owned a lot of the land that is currently Sherwood Forest Farm, which is very near to us. So it makes sense that George and Lawrence would have been in that neighborhood and spent a little bit of time there, particularly George, since he was the surveyor and outdoorsman and traveled around through the countryside quite a bit. So the farm has some interesting history, and we've enjoyed living there and raising a family there.